Israel-Gaza war live. Troops push deeper into the Strip as death toll climbs. Perth Now. Breaking news. Western Australia. National. World. Technology. Opinion. Weather. Israel's aerial attacks on Gaza intensify. Live. Israel-Gaza war live. Troops push deeper into the Strip as death toll climbs. Topics. Israeli ground forces have pushed deeper into the Gaza Strip while intensifying airstrikes in the territory. Israel's military said it had struck 450 Hamas targets in the past 24 hours as part of the second stage of its war. Our troops and tanks are inside the Gaza Strip. They're shooting and they're operating, military spokesman Nir Dinar said. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza said the unrelenting retaliatory Israeli bombardment had killed more than 8,000 people, mainly civilians and half of them children. Reporting live. Foreign Minister Penny Wong warns Israel must respect international law. Foreign Minister Penny Wong has urged Israel to listen to its allies and protect innocent lives in Gaza, saying, civilians on both sides have been murdered. Speaking to ABC Radio on Monday, Senator Wong said it was critical for Israel to ensure it does everything it can to protect civilian lives and to respect international humanitarian law. Senator Wong said it was a dreadful, tragic conflict. We are seeing loss of life. We are seeing civilians on both sides have been murdered, she said. We have seen civilians on both sides in a lot of pain. And obviously, we still have Israeli hostages that have been taken, that Hamas is still holding. What I would say is this though, when Israel's friends urge Israel to protect civilian life, as we have, it is critical that Israel listens. Read more at the West Australian. Free the hostages. Ceasefire. Pope Francis. Pope Francis repeatedly called for a ceasefire in Gaza while delivering his blessing from the window of the Apostolic Palace above St. Peter's Square at the Vatican. Let's continue to pray for Ukraine and for the serious situation in Palestine and Israel and for other regions with wars, he said. In particular in Gaza, leave space to guarantee humanitarian aid. And let the hostages be freed immediately. Let no one abandon the possibility to stop the arms. Ceasefire. Pope Francis cited the Reverend Ibrahim Falters, the Vicar of the Holy Land, as joining him in the urgent plea for a ceasefire. Stop yourselves, brothers and sisters, war is always defeat. Always. Always, he said. Troops take out Hamas militants. Israel's military said on Sunday that ground forces had killed a number of Hamas militants as they were exiting a tunnel near the Erez crossing, which was the sole pedestrian passageway out of the coastal enclave into Israel before it was destroyed in the fighting. It was not clear how many militants were killed. Videos of the ground operation released by the military showed tanks traversing small, sandy hills and bulldozers clearing mountains of debris. Hamas has a sprawling network of tunnels underneath Gaza where it is believed to be stockpiling weapons, food and other supplies. Airstrikes take toll on jam-packed hospital. The Palestinian Red Crescent Society said Israeli airstrikes on Sunday damaged sections in the jam-packed Al-Quds hospital in Gaza City, after receiving 2 phone calls from the Israeli military to evacuate. A video the Red Crescent posted on X, formerly Twitter, of the hospital following the strikes shows rooms covered in debris and dust and the windows blown out. People covered their noses and mouths, panicking as they tried to leave the hospital with their children. The PRCS-run hospital administration said that evacuating the hospital was impossible as its hundreds of patients included children in incubators and wounded in intensive care. In a statement, it said many of the 14,000 people seeking shelter there were Palestinians displaced by the ongoing Hamas-Israel war. Israeli strikes targeted areas around the hospital throughout Sunday. The Director General of the World Health Organization said that it would be impossible to evacuate hospitals without endangering lives. Families of captives plea for end to nightmare. Some support an Israeli invasion of Gaza, others want a prisoner swap, but relatives of dozens seized by Hamas were united in demanding Israel's government end their nightmare. More than 3 weeks after shock cross-border attacks on Israeli kibbutz communities, towns and army bases near the Gaza border, the fearful families feel they are only just starting to be taken seriously. It was not enough, but it was a nice start, Jackie Levy, an Israeli television presenter among about 80 hostage relatives who met with President Isaac Herzog on Sunday, said. At last we are on the table. They have us and our interests on top of the agenda. The president told us very clearly that bringing out our beloved ones is a top aim of Israel now. It makes us feel a little bit better after 3 long weeks with no call. The families said they had secured a commitment to give more frequent updates about efforts to release the captives, who are believed detained in Hamas underground tunnels in Gaza. XPM's call for Aussies to end racial and religious hatred. 6 former prime ministers are calling for an end to religious hatred as tensions rise amid Israel's sustained campaign against Hamas in Gaza. John Howard, Kevin Rudd, Julia Gillard, Tony Abbott, Malcolm Turnbull and Scott Morrison issued a joint statement calling for an end to hate speech against any Australian. Whatever is happening elsewhere in the world, there is no place in our country for racial or religious hatred, they said on Monday. And there is no more tenaciously evil race hatred than anti-Semitism. Likewise, we stand too with the Australian Palestinian community, whose families are dying and suffering in this terrible conflict. Our nation's success depends on us not allowing conflict overseas to turn Australians against each other. Politics. 6 former prime ministers urge end to religious hatred. Victims of war deserve justice. The International Criminal Court's chief prosecutor believes those caught in the war deserve justice. Karim Khan, speaking at the Rafah border crossing in Egypt, told about the devastation that had taken place near churches, schools and hospitals in Gaza. He called on Israel to respect international law but stopped short of accusing it of committing war crimes. They have lawyers, advisors and they will be under no misapprehension after their obligations, he said, adding that these obligations apply to Palestinian militant group Hamas as well. Mr. Khan called Hamas' surprise attack into Israel on October 7 a serious violation of international humanitarian law. The International Criminal Court has been investigating the actions of Israeli and Palestinian authorities since 2014. Register and have your say. Already have an account? Watch now. It's one of Australia's most baffling cold cases. The disappearance of 2 teenagers from the White Sands Hotel. Someone knows something. A gripping new true crime video series. From around the site. Inmates raped ex-guards, abuse and open secret among prison officers. Updated. Shock death. Updated. Revealed. Matthew Perry's suspected cause of death. Allowed to have off-day. MasterChef judge breaks silence on Zonfrillo feud rumors. Ice hockey. U.S. ice hockey player Johnson dies in freak accident. Your local news. Watch now. It's one of Australia's most baffling cold cases. The disappearance of 2 teenagers from the White Sands Hotel. Someone knows something. A gripping new true crime video series.